Hi everybody, Bob Long, LADC. I want to talk to you a little bit about the brain today. Most of us take our brain for granted. We don't really understand how it operates, and this is not going to be a super in-depth look at that, but just the basics. Basically, the brain runs on an electrochemical system to send messages to and from the brain to the body. And the fastest neurons travel at speeds up to 270 miles per hour. Now, there's some ones that act a little slower, but we're going to focus on the ones that can travel very, very fast. We're going to look at why they travel very fast, and we're also going to look at what slows them down a little bit. And I think that's kind of important as a substance abuse counselor because, of course, drugs and alcohol do play a part in that. So first off, don't think about electricity. Yes, it's electrochemical. Don't think about electricity as something that you plug into the wall or something like that. That's not quite the same thing. It's more like direct current, not alternating current, but not really. A direct current has a regular output, steady output. Maybe it's a 9-volt battery, constantly puts out 9 volts until it goes dead. Maybe it's a car battery that's putting out 12 volts and so many amps and stuff like that. Don't want to get too technical. Understand this, AC, DC, you're dealing with electrons. In the brain, you're dealing with ions, and we have ion channels. And the bigger the neurons are, the more rapid the responses can be. Larger neurons can handle the 268 to 270 mile per hour information, provided they're in good shape. So if we were to take a little cord like this, this is a charger cord, it's very, very small. And if I were to cut the end off and put a regular plug on it and then plug it into the wall, this and then try to run something with it, of course it's only one wire. But let's say I have 2 of these wires and I hook it up to my toaster. This little wire is not going to be able to handle that much current, and it's going to melt, and the insulation around it is going to heat up and it's going to melt, and then this cord's not going to be very functional. Okay, roughly the same thing happens with the neurons in our brain. They too have insulation. The insulation around them is called myelin, I believe, and it's basically protein, and it's also fatty lipids. And so fat is actually very important to the diet. So what will slow down the transmission signals? Well, there's a lot of things that can slow down those transmission signals. So genetics, some people just are genetically a little faster than others. I didn't say slower, okay? I meant to say it like that. Age, the older you get, the slower these things tend to go. So there is no fountain of youth other than diet and exercise. We'll come back and hit that in a second. There's some other things here. I'm going to consult my cheat sheet real quick. Temperature. If it's cold outside, really, really, really cold outside, yeah, it's going to slow it down quite a bit. We see that in people who are in very, very cold water. Hypothermia kicks in, brains kind of shut down. That's a worst case example of what I can show you there or demonstrate to you. Let's see, what else? Genetics, diet. Sometimes we have just a really bad diet. Also, the conditions of the neurons. Now, we talked a little bit about the insulation around the neurons. So things such as opiates, opioids, weed, sedatives, alcohol, they all slow down the signaling as they slow down the flow of ions. Also, some of those chemicals erode the insulation around the neurons, and this also slows down the speed of the transmission. The insulation is called myelin, and I already told you it's made up of lipids and proteins. So yeah, I'm kind of reading off my my script a little bit because I don't want to give you some wrong information. So if you want to have a better brain, make sure you're doing something good for your brain and blood flow to the body and blood flow to the brain and body is very critical. So when we're talking about blood flow, we're talking about oxygenated blood flow. Matter of fact, the brain takes 20% of that oxygenated blood flow, and then the rest of the body gets the other 80%. Now, the rest of the body is pretty big, so the brain takes the majority of it. So yes, I know 20% is not a majority of 100%, but as far as size, the brain does utilize quite a bit of that. So we want to be able to have good blood flow. To do that, get off your butt and start walking, bicycling, exercising, doing something that gets your heart rate up, okay? If you tell me that the only exercise you get is jumping to conclusions, I'm going to challenge that a little bit for you. There's some other things that we can also do. Get enough sleep. Experts say 7 hours. I prefer 8 hours of sleep. Make sure that your diet contains some omega-3. Think salmon, think tuna, think fish, okay, because that's your omega-3 fatty acids that you're going to need in order for the body and the brain to repair. Make sure you have enough protein also. If you are a vegan, then some of the protein that you think you're eating is incomplete, so you're going to have to pair it with other vegan food or vegetarian food so that you can have a complete protein so it can do the work that it needs to do. That's critically important. Antioxidants, oxidation. Let's just talk about oxidation for a second. So when we think about oxidation, have you ever left a screwdriver or a hammer out all winter long, and then you find it the next springtime, maybe with a lawnmower, okay? What condition is it in? It's rusted, right? It's rusted. And that's called oxidation. So I'm not saying our brain rusts, but I am saying that the myelin, which is the insulation around the neurons, does get impacted with what's called free radicals, and eating antioxidants, which you can find in blueberries and strawberries and blackberries and stuff like that, will help correct that. Those free radicals also slow down the transmission of signals from your brain to your body. So understand that. Let's see, exercises for your brain. There's spot the differences where you have two pictures that look almost alike, but there's maybe 10 or 15 differences. When your brain is in early recovery, it may take you 15 minutes to find the differences between picture A, picture B. But as you stay in recovery, you're going to notice that, I can do this quicker, maybe 5 to 7 minutes, then maybe 2 to 3 minutes. And what it's doing is it's shifting the ability to shift focus. One of the things that we find hard in early recovery is once we get locked onto the idea of having a drink or using, it's all over with because we can't shift the focus onto something else. So I believe that's important. Checkers, chess, dominoes, words with friends, anything like that, Sudoku, those are all great exercises for the brain. Crossword puzzles, fantastic. So there's a whole list of puzzles out there that will help exercise the brain. Let's talk about coordinated exercises. So coordination exercises is like when I type, I'm using both hands, or playing the piano, I'm using both hands, or playing the guitar, but they're doing something different. So the right hemisphere of the brain controls the left side of the body, the left hemisphere controls the right side of the body. So when I am typing, I am forcing my brain to communicate laterally so that I don't misspell the words, and I still misspell the words. Okay, so anyway, I'm a horrible speller, horrible typist, I don't know, fat fingers, I don't know what you want to call it. But anyway, So those are playing the piano, same thing. And playing the piano, you got to learn how to read music. So again, that's another way of exercising the brain. Let's see here. Learning to play an instrument, said that. Learning a new language. If you've ever thought about learning a new language, this might be the perfect time to do that in recovery. Avoid sugar in all forms. We didn't realize how horribly bad sugar is, but sugar is horribly bad. Just if you can get away from eating sugar, I would advise you to do it. Stay away from anything toxic. Alcohol and drugs come to mind. Limit your caffeine and nicotine as they disrupt the blood flow to all parts of the body. So if you're disrupting the blood flow, you're actually disrupting the oxygenated blood flow to different organs, and you're causing some damage to all parts of your body, not just your lungs from smoking, but also your brain and everything else. Anywhere blood flows and blood goes that you need oxygenated blood, you're damaging it. So keep that in mind. Oh my goodness. Don't believe every stupid thought you have. If you're depressed, get medical help. Exercise is a great antidepressant. Taking your dog for a walk is really a good way to clear your mind. Don't believe every stupid thought you have. Many times we get a thought in our head and we don't even bother to challenge it. We assume that it's true. You cannot assume that every thought you have is true. That's probably the hardest concept for most of my patients to wrap their head around, is that their brain lies to them, and it lies to them to get them back to using. And if you're in early recovery, you're probably going to have your brain try to trick you into drinking again by creating something that just isn't true. Or maybe it's not 100% true and it blows it up. That's called catastrophizing, okay, or maximizing. So anyway, understand that. Let me get back up here to the cheat sheet. Eat more protein, okay? Protein is an essential building block that repairs your brain and body. I think I've hit that. Keep hydrated. If you're dehydrated, your ion channels are going to definitely be slowed down because of that. So you're going to have to stay hydrated. Practice meditation, practice journaling your thoughts. Here's the bottom line. You are the guardian of your own mind. You decide what books you're going to read. You're going to decide what websites you're going to go to. You're going to decide what you're watching on TV. You're going to decide how you spend your time during the day. You're going to determine who you allow into your life and who you don't. Basically, the boundaries that you choose to set are the boundaries you do not set. Folks, you have so much control over your life. And some of us are not reaching our full potential. And it's because we have some damage up here that needs to be healed. And once that damage is healed, oh my God, your life is going to get so much better. I want only the best for you guys. Well, that's it. Have a good one. Take care. Bob.